What's up, YouTube? Chilling, man. Been sitting at this truck stop for 2 days. Well, yeah, about a day and a half. Just enough to get my hours back. But in trucking, it's kind of like, you don't have the hours to drive, you can't drive. So I woke up the other morning with literally 1 hour to drive. And I was like, well, ain't no point in me going nowhere, so I didn't go nowhere. So I've been just chilling here in this truck. And it's giving me a chance to, reflect and think on a lot of things, man. Like, I think that's the one thing about trucking that I really do like. And I'm trying to get some light in this motherfucker. Excuse me. I think that's the one thing about trucking I really do like. It gives me a chance to sit down and think. And I've been putting some pieces together in my head, man. So me and my girl get to talking. And she puts me onto this YouTube channel, Charles and Alyssa, And their whole channel, from what I can understand of, is a bunch of bright ass colors, them doing a bunch of nice ass, like, I won't say glossy shit, but they live life differently, you know what I mean? And it's a life that is actually a very nice looking life, to be honest with you. Like, and, being her getting this conversation about me changing my wardrobe, which I ain't gonna lie to you, was a blow to my ego for a minute. I'm like, damn, I ain't think that. She's like, well, I don't like the way you dress, and it's not like nothing, it's not nothing bad or nothing like that. It's kind of like you like dark colors and you like these colors and you like that. But she's not the type of person that just, like, I'm gonna just tell you, like, I'm doing it to fuck with you and to belittle you and everything. But, like, yeah, you can use a wardrobe update. And I think to myself, I was like, damn, where does that come from in my head? Because, when somebody says something to me initially, it might rub me the wrong way, but I get a chance to sit on it, and it's like, damn, I come to the conclusion that if you're right or if you're wrong, and I think she's right. You know what I mean? This is my personal belief. This is what Ronell thinks. Like, I'm like, damn, I probably do need to wear some brighter colors or some different shit. You know what I mean? And, I don't think what I think is horrible, but I do think what I think could use an update. Now, reason why I'm saying this, you know what I mean? Because it all ties into the whole overall point. You know what I mean? I think the way I dress and the things I think come from Georgia. And I didn't realize to the extent of how much until I get to calling my cousins. Like, my cousin. So my cousin, he calls me the other day. And I'll tell you how all this ties in. He calls me the other day. And he's like, man, I ain't heard from the nigga in about a month and a half. He's the cousin, I got cousins that drive trucks and stuff. This was the one with braids. He's like, cuz, I'm trying not to kill my wife. My ex-girl, I'm trying not to kill her. And I know he's not, like, mentally playing. Like, he's literally at a place in his head. Because me and him talk, you know what I'm saying? Me and him talk a lot, you know what I'm saying? He's literally at a place in his head where he's finna put a bullet through this girl's skull. Like, and I know he's not joking. Like, you know how the motherfuckers say they gonna kill somebody for the sake of killing somebody? I don't think he's thinking that to say that to be playing. Like, he's done been overseas, he's done actually shot motherfuckers. Like, if he's at a place where he wants to harm a person, he's not just talking. Like, now granted, we're all older now. We're not 21-year-olds no more, so it's almost like he's just sitting on the thought, and he's having trouble getting up in the morning, and he's drinking, and he's smoking weed every damn day because he's so fucking stressed out. You know what I'm saying? And I think, when he tells me these things, it links up to the past, and it's like, God, the girl he dates is from Georgia, from what I can tell. I think she's from around that area, Waycross, and most women you meet in Georgia are gonna be fucked up anyway. But when I think about my girl in the dressing and everything and the things she wants me to wear, she goes on this thing where it's like, listen, I'm trying to bring you into the future. Like, I'm trying to bring you on some new shit. And it's like, a part of me was resistant to that change for a second. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know. And I'm open to it, but I wasn't like, yeah, let's just do it. You know what I mean? Like, again, I had to sit on thoughts for a while for things to make sense to me. Like, because I know overall she's just trying to help. You know what I mean? And I'm really sitting there thinking about it. So when I talk to my cuz, it's almost like he calls me, because he the type of nigga that hangs around a bunch of other dudes. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, why you ain't call nobody else? He's like, well, you the only one I really trust to call for real. I have associates, but I don't really have friends. And I was like, damn, that shit hit home like a motherfucker, because that's how I think. Like, and I think we come from Georgia, all of us, like, and I mean all of us, bro. Like, I didn't realize how bad the stigma was and how bad the trauma was. And the more I talk to my homeboys, the more I talk to my girlfriend, the more I'm starting to realize that this shit is really a thing. Like, with all of us, like, every one of us, all of my homeboys are fucked up in some type of way. Like, I'm having to convince my cousin to not shoot his ex-wife. like, bruh, and I asking him, I'm like, what anchors you to this life? Like, does your business get you going? You know what I'm saying? What keeps you getting up in the morning? He's like, to be honest with you, cuz, hatred. And I resonated with that feeling so much because I come from that same shit he comes from. Where it's like, you don't feel like, man, if you motherfucking back up and hit this, I hate truck stops. I resonated with that feeling so much when he said hatred. He said, man, I resonate, and hatred is what gets me up in the morning. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, hatred is the one thing that wakes me up. And for a while, personally, mine was revenge. Like, and it just, you know, when we talk about these things and I say them out loud and I talk to my girlfriend, I was like, damn, I realized how fucked up of a mindset that I had. Like, we really think killing motherfuckers is okay. Like, I ain't never shot nobody. But, you know, I've never actually placed a gun in my hand for that reason, because I never wanted to hurt nobody, because I've actually been so angry to the point I wanted to shoot someone. Now, I come across a video this morning of myself from 4 years ago when I used to be on the block on that type of shit with them niggas and hanging out there, and usually sitting at the motherfucking park at Hazers, that's when shit usually happens, because you just out there. Not, you know, when I tell this shit to other motherfuckers, or I say things on Facebook like, oh, I don't like, you know, Georgia and everything, my other cousin comes across, he's like, well, kind of fuck you. But he wasn't like saying it on no type of shit. It was like, you can eat a dick, nigga, I don't fuck with you no more. It's almost like motherfuckers that I know from Georgia, they're so immersed in that type of thinking that they don't even think nothing's wrong with it. Like, and I didn't realize how wrong it was until I left. Like, my homeboy calls me about a lot of his situations and everything he's going through with his girlfriend, and he's like, I gotta walk around with a pistol. And I'm just like, and his girlfriend's looking at him like, why you gotta have a gun? He's like, man, I don't know, like, you talking about your baby daddy and like your husband coming around, because his girlfriend's going through a divorce. And he's like, I don't know if this nigga gonna pop up at any time. I gotta be able to kill him if he. And I just, and the more I talk to these niggas, I'm just like, God damn, we all fucked up. Like, all of us. Like, maybe me being the lesser of it because I've removed myself from it. But it took me going all the way north to realize how fucked up shit was in the South. And it's like, I don't think it's necessarily the whole South. I think the South has good things about it. I'm just talking about Southeast Georgia, where I'm from. Like, that shit is fucked up. Like, it's bad fucked up. Like, and I think we all are like, you know, we're all like kids of that shit. Like, we all, like, I remember when I lived in Hazers, like, the type of shit I would hear motherfuckers doing, like, you know, you'd hear like motherfuckers fighting next door. And I mean, like, getting their ass full on whooped and shit. Niggas is out here shooting guns and shit. And it's just like, I mean, it ain't like motherfuckers is killing like that. But niggas where I'm from is on the bullshit. And it's like, it took me the longest time to realize that it's not normal to be like that. Like, that type of negative energy is not normal. Like, I didn't realize for the longest time how fucked up that type of thinking was, because I know I had my issues from back in Georgia and everything, and I just, you know, it had me to the point where I was ready to take a life. Like, I'm like, and, you know, I'm sitting here thinking of this shit. I'm like, why? And my mom's like, why don't you ever come home? I'm like, man, I can't just sit there and pretend to be friends with some. I'm one of them motherfuckers, if I got a problem with you, and if I'm too close to the problem, I'm going to solve it. And I think me and everybody and every one of my homeboys think the same way, where it's like, we can't be amongst some shit that we not cool with and not do nothing about it. Like, my cousin is literally calling me like, look, bro, I really don't want to do this shit. Like, I really don't want to be involved with this shit. But I also know my cousin on the other hand, and I know he the type of nigga, he ain't trying to leave that shit. Like, and it's like, I wonder what anchors us to that. Like, my girlfriend's like, you stuck in the past, you're stuck in the past. And I'm just like, I'm thinking I'm just being Ronell about it. And then I sit here, I wake up this morning and I think about it. And I'm starting to think she's right. Like, because I keep hearing these conversations from my homeboys and my cousins and the way niggas act. Like, nah, I gotta, like, I get on FaceTime with these niggas and nah, I gotta keep my file on me. I gotta keep my Glock. And I just sit there and think to myself, bro, a lot of y'all niggas make more than enough money to leave. Just leave it. Like, But I think in all some kind of way, we're all kind of stuck there on one level or another. Because, I mean, a lot of things I do now are based off the type of traumas I've been through. And I didn't realize how much trauma I actually had within myself until I started talking to my girlfriend. She's like, well, that's kind of a fucked up way to think. And that's kind of a pessimistic way to think. But I come from an environment where you got to ready to stab a motherfucker in his chest over a disagreement. Like, and I really sit there and I think about that. I was like, that's a fucked up way to live. Like, I did not really, I mean, this is just me sharing, but I didn't think that it was to the point where we was thinking that that was normal. Like, we get an issue with a nigga, oh, let me go grab the motherfucking 40 Glock and just go talk to him. Like, look, bro, I'm not, you gotta literally come over a nigga house with a gun and be ready to blow his head off. Like, you gotta be ready to kill a motherfucker down there. Like, and I'm not saying it's like so bad to the point where it's Compton, but it's like this. You can't be the person without a gun because everybody else has one. Even if they're not going to use it, they have one, so they need to see you with one so they know that you're not playing when you're not playing. You know what I mean? And comparing that lifestyle to watching something like Charles and Alyssa, and it's like, I'm pretty sure they don't even go through that on a day-to-day. Like, I'm just really sitting here thinking about it. Like, I try to drink sodas too much. I just, want to sell my stomach. But I'm sitting here thinking about it. And I was just like, damn. I really do come from a fucked up environment. And I didn't realize how much it fucked me up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, a lot of my friends and family, you know what I'm saying? They are very immersed in that life. I went to get my mail from my mom about a week ago, right? Because I don't like stopping through Georgia for really nothing else. I just came through to get my mail. I sat and had a conversation with my mom. Other than that hour and a half conversation I had with my mother, you know what I'm saying, about me leaving the past behind, and she's like, well, you need to walk forward into the future. Like, you got this going on with your girlfriend, just focus on that. And I'm just like, okay, yeah. She's like, well, because you expect perfection out of people. But other than me sitting in Georgia to talk to my mom, I ran into some of my uncles, and I just was like, I can't do that shit. And I'm just, motherfuckers from where I'm from, if they see you doing something outside of what they feel is normal, they act like you changed. And I sit there and I ask myself, like, well, aren't you supposed to change? Like, I'm not turning 22 next year. I'm turning 33. So it's like, I can't keep being the same Ronell from when I used to hang around the block with them niggas. Like, I seen that damn video and I was like, damn, like, I used to really be out here with these motherfuckers, not knowing in my mind that one of these niggas out here got a gun and this shit could go down. Like, I think sometimes we get, like, trained to think a certain kind of way and it becomes the norm. Like, and again, after I got my mail, I was like, I don't know. Like I said, I went and got my mail from my mom and I was like, I don't miss this shit at all. Like, I don't feel any better about, well, I won't say feel any better. I don't feel no different than when I felt when I left. Like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should just not say nothing and it should be cool and it's not nothing to worry about. Nah, I still feel like fuck you motherfuckers. Like, I still feel like fuck Georgia. Like, I still feel that way. Like, I thought my feeling might change on it and, because if I say I, fuck something, I'm just like, it might be how I feel for a little while. It might feel this way for a little minute. Nah, this is a feeling I've been feeling it for the past 3-4 years. And every time I go down there, it doesn't change. Like, you know what I mean? But I do believe that I need to step into the future a little bit more. I've had time to think on it. And it's something I really need to think about. Like, I really am ready to move on to something else. Like, because my uncle's like, how you live in the snow and how you do that shit? I'm like, man, because I don't go through none of that shit I go through down here. And I talked to my mom, and she's like, well, I mean, it ain't that bad down here. And then I'd be like, Mom, you not necessarily in the street like that. Like, Hazlehurst, Georgia, or Southeast Georgia is one of them places you can get into some shit just being associated or being related to a motherfucker that's in it. Like, because my homeboy goes through that all the time with his brother. Like, he's not in it, but his brother is in it. So when his brother's in it, he has to be in it. And if he's in it, I'm in it. And it's like, that's that domino effect of shit that happens from down south. Like, ain't nobody finna jump my homeboy over his brother and think I'm not finna jump in. And if I get jumped in, then my cousin jumping in. And if my cousin jumping in, off the fact that my other cousins know my cousin, they jumping in. But that's how motherfuckers in Georgia think. Where it's like, you know what? You got one of us, we finna fight with all of us. You gonna fight with all of us. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm getting older, bro, and I don't want to be close enough to the street. You know what I'm saying? To get popped or something stupid happen or get arrested. I got family members that's doing time in prison. Like, and the one thing I keep thinking about all of it, you know what I'm saying, when I wrap it all up in a bow in a big box, it's simply because, you know, because I got an Uncle Irvin. My Uncle Irvin is, I think he's doing like 2 or 3 years, but he's like a repeat offender. And I ain't forget the other point, but he's like a repeat offender. He's done going back and forth to prison for weed and selling drugs, and he just like, he wouldn't quit. Like my mom would tell him like, stop doing it, stop bringing the drugs around the house, stop doing this, stop doing that, and he would constantly like in and out. And now he's like in his 40s, and he's like the jail bed. Listen, I sleep on this bed in this truck. This bed is not necessarily the most comfortable thing. Like, and I didn't realize that shit till I slept on it for 2 days. But when I wrap this shit up in a bow all together, when I think about it, the whole point overall, right? All of us had the same fucking problem. You just wasn't willing to leave. And I've left, and my dad calls Hazardous, Georgia, or Southeast Georgia a fishbowl. Like, he don't come back. And it's like, he'll come through to speak to my mom every now and then and see, you know, my family, because we got a lot of family down there. But other than that, he don't hang around. Like, and I don't hang around. I don't come through to talk. And anybody that comes through to get anything, like my homeboy, he'll drop through to see his mom and everything. Motherfuckers might hang around for 15 hours at the most, and they out of there, because it's like, ain't nobody got time to be caught up in that nonsense. But like I said, when I look at it overall, I think most people's problem from Georgia, that if I can tell you, is just they wasn't willing to leave it. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't willing to walk away from it. They still want to have that life down there. And it's like, I get it. And I didn't realize how connected to it I was until until my girlfriend said something like, you need to come into the future. You need to wear different things. You need to do different stuff. And I'm just like, the Ronell me was resistant to it at first, but now I'm at a place with it. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to really put more effort into this thing. Like, and I'm willing to try, and I'm open to trying, man, because I'm not trying to go back. I'm not trying to go back. You know, I don't want no parts of none of that shit down there. Like, I don't. You know what I mean? And if a person's trying to help me have a better future for myself overall, then I'm more than willing to focus on that. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, they ain't going to do nothing but help me. I don't know, but I just think about all that shit, man, and how fucked up it is down there, man. And I feel for my family members that hang around that shit. But I mean, it's a bunch of hypnosis. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on that.